Welcome to another episode of Killed in Concept, a true crime drama for creatives where there wasn't actually a murder and it's not actually that mysterious. I'm Joshua Hayes, your host, and this is Johnny, my co-host. And today we're joined by Christopher Williams, the senior developer at none other than New York Ave. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
So today we're actually going to be talking about a client of New York Ave. And as much as Chris has been murdered by what we're going to be describing, I have also been personally attacked and murdered in this story. So we are talking about, which, was just bleeped out. And because it was bleeped out, I will give you a brief description. They were in the data security space, and I'm going to take you back with this story to 2000. Chris, what are the mock-ups? What's the age on the mock-ups?
Oh, let me see.
Like 2020, maybe?
Oh, the golden years.
2019,
right? The golden years of COVID.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I say that sarcastically. I don't actually mean that.
This was pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. Yeah, you're right. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
When that actually
this was 2019 years, so. at the latest.
2019. Okay, yeah, because I remember it was shortly after you joined the team in New York Ave. So I'm going to take you back to 2019.
Tell us, Josh.
I will. Thank you. Stop interrupting.
I'm co-hosting right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See, I'm co-hosting.
So clever.
I want to feel important.
You are important. So anyways, this client is in like the data transaction security space. Essentially, their shtick was that for every secure transaction that happened for banking or lending, specifically in the real estate and banking industries, that there would be a security protocol. The transaction would happen and be authenticated over a secure connection, a little bit above my pay grade. Anyways, they came to us and they were looking for help with their brand, their logo, their messaging, their website, and they were talking about potentially doing a marketing plan. And so, Chris, I actually think you came onto the team as we were beginning on some of we had finished some of the branding and we were working towards the website. Is that true?
Yeah, I think I was there for the mock-ups, so I was pretty early in the project, but
okay.
I think branding may have come before me.
Do you this guy? I don't know if you ever remember the guy at all, but he was like in the military reserves, and obviously he's in security, and so he very much had this like, I need this logo, this brand, the whole vibe to be like this kind of military grade vibe. But the thing is when he came into the fold and he like called us and he's like, hey, I want to hire you for these things. Then he dipped out. But it wasn't really his fault. He was in the reserves and he was called into service. So he's like, I want to hire you. Bye. No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Thank you for your service. Right. But it was like, he just was like, I'm going to hire you, sign the contract. And then he's like, oops, got to go. Here's my second in command. And so we started working with a great team of people. They were super cool and very knowledgeable. And they hired us to do the branding and we were hired to do the website. So we did their first logo. Chris, do you remember anything about the first version of the logo?
Yeah, it looked really cool. It looked like a bird, and it looked straight up. I thought from day one it looked like a defense contractor.
See,
it looks like
that was the second logo. That was the second logo. Do you remember the first logo, the first brand?
No, what was the first one though?
Okay, so because the company name was bleeped out,
it was the triangle.
Triangle, yes, yeah,
it was like the Triforce from Zelda.
Other
that's so
way.
much cooler than what we did. Zelda's
because I had to make
cooler.
a V.
Yeah, it was. So the company name, because it's bleeped out, it starts with the V, and so we did a triangle. We did the V, and then the top of the V was a different color to make it look, it was so awesome. I'm doing a terrible job describing it. It was a really great logo. And you're right. It still had the defense contractor vibe, strength, security. That was the vibe that we were going for this particular client. And they freaking loved it. They were like, this is the best thing that we've ever seen. Like, this is why we came to the pros. And Chris, do you remember, I don't know if you recall, but do you remember like what happened next between that logo that was approved, shipped, and like pretty much in motion, and then why we ended up with an eagle?
Yeah, no, I think there was a legal notice involved.
Uh,
There was a bit of a run-in with another company who
Oh, boy.
had a very, very similar logo.
Was it Viacom? Because that's what I always think about.
no, but no, actually it was, all right. When New York Ave does a onboarding, as by the way, Johnny's the creative director at New York Ave, so he's very aware. Everyone here is aware of our process. So we go through an extensive onboarding process. We do a number of questionnaire sessions, consultation sessions. We do research, competitive research, but all of it is rooted on what the client gives to us to go off of, and that includes their competitors. And so anyways, we're working on the website because we're way past the brand now and everybody loved it. It was, awesome. And I get this email from the client and he's like, hey, so is the logo trademarked? And I'm like, absolutely not. We're not attorneys. And he goes, okay, well, we are getting hit with a lawsuit. And I'm like,
Oh boy.
tell me more. What's going on? So he says, well, our largest, most well-known competitor in the space has this exact same logo.
Oh no.
And we're like, what the fuck? Like, what do you, I'm sorry, who is this? And they're like, you should know. And I'm like, how? Like, this is such a niche space. And we did our research based on what you gave us. And on the question where it says, who are the largest, most well-known competitors in your industry, they were not listed at all.
I mean, I have to know, like, what was the name of the other business?
Oh, it was a totally different name.
Okay,
It was totally different name. The triangle was the shape, and one could argue triangle is a common shape, right? But it was seriously close. Like, I remember looking at the two. Do you remember seeing the comps, Chris?
I don't remember how similar the other logo is, but I do know that based on descriptions of what they wanted in a logo, they basically did describe the other logo. It seemed like their goals for the logo.
It's like they had a fever dream about their competitor, and they're like, "This is what we want."
Honestly, though, that is the worst.
We want to beat them.
Yeah.
Even from a creative standpoint, that's honestly like your biggest fear is, what if I create something? Whether you're designing something or you're writing a song, whatever it is, you're so afraid that, like, what if I accidentally create something? That happened actually once. When it wasn't me, I had hired someone to do a design.
It was not Johnny.
And the client was like, guys, you just copied this. And we're like, what do you mean? And they showed us another logo that had nothing to do with their business, but we saw it. And again, this was someone who we had hired out to help us out with this. And we even were like, I'm so sorry. We're gonna take another stab at this. I don't think it was copied on purpose, but it is seriously a fear.
My background, I got started as a designer. Johnny also got started as a designer, graphic designer. So we've done a lot of logos in our time. And I would agree that I share that my biggest fear was always, has this already been done? And that fear is rooted in a number of things, but generally in that circumstance and in this circumstance with this particular client that we're talking to Chris about, we inadvertently did that. But in this case, they had every opportunity to tell us, here's the company we want to look like, but not exactly, right? We don't want to exactly look like them. We had no idea. They got hit by a lawsuit. So fast forward, we are already in the trenches on the website. Chris is like pretty much working on the development of the site at this point because the design has already been approved. It's all mirroring this look that we've developed for them. And they're like, okay, well, we are going to need another logo design. And I have always been the type of creative that is more of a business owner than I am that I'm creative. So I was like, that's fine. We're going to charge you. And they were not happy. They were not happy about that. But I'm like, guys, I am always willing to say when it's my fault, I will accept that defeat and I will make it right. In this case, they defeated themselves. Before they killed us, they killed themselves. And so we charged them, they approved it, and we came up with, Chris, the logo you described, which is like the eagle version of the V, and it actually was super, super cool.
See, I saw that one.
It's a cool logo, right?
Yeah,
It looks like a military contract.
It does.
So it spoke to this guy who was in the military, still deployed, and it was perfect. And then we started working on the website, and I know I'm biased, right? Because it's our product, but that's still one of my favorite websites we've ever done. Do you remember like anything about that site, Chris?
So I remember, I think we started going kind of hard on the triangles when we had the first logo still, and we made a really cool, very triangle-based website. And so luckily it still worked with the second iteration of the logo too. But remember we had a lot of triangles. We started messing around with movement. You're doing like subtle animations when you scroll, and actually a lot of stuff that I feel like we do now, which is subtle animations on our websites, background elements. We had like simple shape patterns in the background that blended into the rest of the site. I feel like a lot of stuff that we still do kind of started around this time.
And I feel
That's
like
probably
now
why
it's
we
like
like that.
by default. So this, mind you, listeners, watchers, this was 7 years ago. So we were cutting edge, triangular edge. So we were ahead of our time. So anyways, Chris was working on this triangle website and like, it's the coolest thing ever. And I'm just in love with it. By the way, the colors were like a dark gunmetal gray. It was a beautiful website, spoke to my creative soul. And we were experimenting with all new stuff, made this killer website and got it approved, right? So the homeboy is still deployed. And he's out just doing what he does, right? And the home team is saying, love it, love it, love it, love it. This is awesome. Could not be any better. I'm so glad we found you and hired you. Like, boss man is going to be super happy whenever he gets back. And we're like, awesome. So Chris finishes building the website, and we launch it, and it's wonderful, and it becomes a feature piece for us, and we're just like bragging about it all the time. But there's this like 2-month period between when the website launches and when the client comes back from deployment. And I was already talking with his team about marketing because, let's be honest, we're a digital marketing company. We make money on marketing. So when we have a client that stays past the brand development and the website, that's when we start to make our money and arguably do some of our best work, rooted in the work we did on the branding and the website. Anyways, so there's this 2-month period. We're negotiating the contract. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I'm just thinking, this is awesome. I cannot wait to turn triangles into marketing and change the world. And so we're just flying high, and the client comes back. He returns.
Oh boy.
And we never heard from him when he came back. We just knew that he came back because we got an email from my point of contact at the client who's like, hey, so we're actually going to go ahead and cancel the hosting. We're going to transfer the website to our own who knows, HostGator, 1 penny host per month, whatever, to save money. And we are definitely not going to move forward with the marketing. We want to go in a different direction.
It was like definite. It wasn't just like, hey, I think it's like absolutely not.
We're done. Yeah, it was a breakup email that did not leave room for any kind of interpretation whatsoever. We are done.
But they came from someone else?
No, it came from my point of contact. That's what was weird about it. It was because Chris and Taylor, and I think it was Nina at the time, the team was just like, we were talking about this client. It was not only work we were super excited and proud by, but we were eager to get to the marketing and obviously make some more money and continue to do great work. And then it just came out of the blue.
Do you know what I said, though? I said, well, at least they kept their website.
So, all right.
Oh,
so
why,
that's a good
why did you
transition.
say that, Chris?
Yeah. So
Man.
this
They
is where
kept
I
the
want
website.
Chris to kind of, I don't know if you remember the details, but generally we got the breakup email. There was no room for interpretation. They're like, we're done here. And we're like, okay. And so we button things up. We never hear from the guy that was in the military who originally hired us. And one day, Chris, go ahead.
So at some point, we also had promotional material, I think, with their website on it, or we had something on our website still linked to it, or a picture somewhere. And so I still occasionally would check out the website.
You
Well,
would go there and
look
just
at
like,
it.
look at this.
While Chris was slacking
Yeah,
off
I
during the
remember
day,
that.
he decided to check
So
in.
I
on the-
yeah, I was slacking off, looking at their website, and I said, "Oh, that's different."
𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀 is sponsored by Paper Jacket, a media production agency that's purpose-built for marketing agencies. If you work with individual videographers and are tired of the mess and unpredictable expense, or you're scared to bug your clients one more time to film their own content for social media, this is for you. Paper Jacket is an award-winning plug-and-play media team with 2 studios in Central Florida and a national footprint. Streamline your content, establish predictable costs, and make more money by embedding videos and podcasting into your retainers with Paper Jacket. Visit paper-jacket.com/agencies to learn more. That's paper-jacket/agencies.
I still occasionally would check out the website.
You would
Well,
go there and
look
just
at
like,
it.
look
While,
at this.
while Chris was slacking
Yeah,
off during the
remember
day,
that.
he decided to check
So
in.
I
on the-
yeah, I was slacking off, looking at their website, and I said, "Oh, that's different." And so I immediately sent it off to Josh, and they had replaced our neat little triangle site with all our cool little animations and everything with the most soulless corporate site I've ever seen, with everything replaced by the worst stock photos that had nothing to
Squares.
do with their services. No, they had like, the black and green, like Hackerman, not even code, but like
Matrix
circuitry.
style?
They had like like a circuitry image, really big and bright green, that took up like the whole screen.
Yeah.
And that was like their header, I think. And then they had just the blandest website below that, but up in the top corner, you could still see our cool little logo. That was all they kept. It was just the logo on the top.
They
What-
kept the logo.
What they didn't tell you during that discovery call was how much the owner hated triangles.
I mean,
That's what got us.
maybe. I just think honestly, so I had learned later, because we were referred to this client, I had learned later that the guy in charge who was deployed seemed to think he was also a marketing person and just had a mind for marketing, quote unquote. And so my thought, because at this point we're just theorizing, my thought, or speculating, my thought was that he came back and he's like, I'm a marketing guy, and decided he could do it better. And he had a really cool idea done in 2000, whatever, The Matrix. And so he took the logo, which apparently he loved, and he built this. And if you're old, you'll get this, GeoCities website.
No.
I mean, it was not actually GeoCities, but it
I
was
mean,
GeoCities.
I'm sad, also impressed if it actually was.
It was not, but it's not. If you're thinking in your head, if you remember this and you're like, man, nostalgia. Like,
Was it like some gifts with like a eagle flying
yes,
around?
yes. Actually, I'm pretty even.
No.
I'm almost positive that was there somewhere. So he's got all of these random things going on this website, and it's simultaneously this soulless corporate vibe at the same time of this like weird, where did this come from? The deep, dark corners of the internet. And it's not at all exuding trust or security or whatever for his particular industry. And then you've got this like grayscale military logo in the top. And it's an absolute disaster. I mean, it just vomit inducing if you're at all in the creative space. And it cue the murder sound. It really felt like they had taken something really, truly beautiful, meaningful that every single member on the New York Ave team had positively contributed to.
The thing that Chris apparently throughout the day would go and look for himself to try to capture a sense of joy.
Some people have hobbies. Chris looks at
New
York Ave's
old work that I liked.
I mean, like we all have trophies. I guess that was one of your trophies. You would stare at every now and then.
It was all right. To be fair, it was one of Chris's first projects with New York Ave where he like took the lead on the full development scope, and we were challenging him with all of these new things. And so it was a meaningful project and we celebrated it, and it was early in his time with New York Ave. And so we're thinking, hey, we're growing. We've got a new client. They're going to hire us for marketing.
Yeah.
And this looks cool. Wow. I've been hired by a cool company. And then, they don't have cool clients. At least in this circumstance, that was not the case at all. So what cracked me up about this, by the way, is Chris, when you're looking at who the company is and then where their website landed, how much confidence would you say you had when you were looking at their own version of their website?
Like in us or in them?
No, in them. Like if you were hiring them for financial security as a bank, how much confidence?
Yeah, that's the thing. If I'm a bank or a financial institution, I'm not gonna be thrilled with their low res stock photos GeoCities site.
I feel like I need to help people like visualize this because we're not showing examples. But let me help paint the picture. If any of you know a guy who is from your high school and is now selling his own coin, his own token, and he's got a brand and a logo and a website for it. If you were to go to his website, that's what it was. And so obviously I had all of the confidence in the world. If I was a major bank and I was looking to protect hundreds of millions of dollars of assets and transactions, I would definitely hire Neo from the Matrix and buy his coin. It was that bad.
Follow the white rabbit, I guess.
It was embarrassingly bad. So we've got this triangle website that got put out of its misery, and we were left kind of ghosted and depressed. I would honestly kind of depressed. Like I was sad about it. It was something we were really proud of and excited by. And of course, a showpiece for Chris, who he spent his evenings at dinner looking at this website.
He poured a glass of wine, like, I'm gonna go check out. Check out the website.
Exactly.
Poured one out for it. What's funny? I did actually have the ability to spin the site back up locally because I had a backup.
Oh, that would have
been. He brought it back to life.
That would have been the best story ever.
Drug it back from the dead so that I could look at it one last time before letting it just.
I think we still had access to their like DNS too. So like, it sounds like, Chris, there may have been a moment where you considered just dragging this thing back from the dead.
We could have just made our own little private corner where we just made a duplicate of the site and just marveled at it. But no, we only.
Well, now I kind of want to do that for Chris. Now I feel bad, man.
Actually, I kind of want to put it on a shirt. Chris needs a shirt
or a hat.
Or a hat. No, we don't do hats at New York Ave.
That's true.
Every other brand that we have does hats, but not New York Ave.
If this is an audio, if you're listening to just the audio track, you have to know and understand that Chris has the most amazing Hawaiian shirts that he wears a lot. He's wearing one right now. He's repping well. This needs to be a Hawaiian shirt pattern of whatever this is.
Okay.
Just triangles.
I was wondering.
Like some tropical triangles.
Triangles. What kind of? It sounds like a brand.
I'll make a tropical triangles.
I kind of want tropical triangles now too. Actually, that sounds great. It'd be better than military triangles. Anyways, so we are hurt by this murder deep in our soul. And it's not even, it was a quiet killing, right? So it was we're done here. No explanation, no closure. and just nothing. And then it was, hey, we've got something fresh here. And it was awful and terrible. And then there was this beautiful logo that we developed twice up in the corner of the website. And it was like, how would you describe a feeling where like you had something, it was wonderful, and then it was made bad, and now you're forced to look at it.
It's called business, Josh.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is why this podcast exists. We all know it.
It does.
It's
What's
us
the opposite
realizing
of nostalgia?
Yeah. What is the
Yeah.
opposite of nostalgia?
business.
No. Yeah. The opposite. That's how I would describe the feeling, is it was the opposite of nostalgia. Anyways, Chris, thanks for joining us today to rant about this client and this project, and share a little bit of the dark corner of your soul with the world today. And it's especially good to, as your boss, to know what you do on your free time.
Yeah.
So thank you.
We need to spin up a GoFundMe for Chris to resurrect this site.
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go look at some old sites that don't exist anymore.
No,
Thanks for having me.
If we're going to do a GoFundMe, it's going to be Tropical Triangles.
Tropical Triangles.
The end. That's what we're doing. Anyways, thanks, Chris. Cheers. Appreciate you joining us.
And R.I.P.
on Killed in Concept. R.I.P. That's a wrap on another brutal murder. But perhaps I'm just being dramatic. Killed in Concept is filmed in DeLand, Florida, hosted by New York Ave, a marketing agency, and sponsored by Paper Jacket, a media production company. If you enjoyed the show, and I do hope that you did, you know what to do. Subscribe where you listen and share where you play. Until next time, go out there and do your best, my fellow creatives, but be prepared for revisions. Cheers.